Welcome to Geeks Corner. I'm Mr. DAPs.
I'm Caitie.
In the latter days of Prohibition, rum runners used to test their vehicles against local police on weekends, just in quick races, informal, to see which one was faster, so when they actually had to chase them, they could find out if they were going to beat them or not. That's how NASCAR started.
I love it.
Oh, speaking of NASCAR, not exactly related to motocross.
I was going to say, how are you going to segue this thing?
But it's close.
Racing,
motocross.
yeah.
We have the first professional female photographer for an entire season of motocross. Did I get that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Krystyn Slack of KrystynSlackPhotography.com. Did I get that right?
Yes.
All right.
Yes, we got it. We're on a roll.
Krystyn and I have been friends for over a decade.
Yes.
Maybe a little bit longer, quite a bit longer, actually.
Gosh, that's so true.
And she's one of the best photographers that you'll ever find. So if you need headshots, if you want fun shots, if you want park shots, any pictures, ask her. And especially if they're action, because your action shots are really good, I think.
Thank you.
And there's this really great picture on her website of her in the middle of the rain or something.
Yes.
And she looks like she's ready to die, but it's one of my favorite pictures.
Carrying the lights.
Yeah, that one.
Is assisting on shoot. Yes.
Yes, that one's fantastic. So Krystyn's going to join us tonight for Geeks Corner, all the way from Newport Beach, and
super far drive.
Super far, but it's rough. So anyway,
You should use the hashtag Geeks
That's
Corner
right.
to talk to us, or maybe ask questions about photography because we have an expert, or maybe if you want to know that my name is Cameron.
and right off the top, where can they find you on Instagram?
Krystyn Slack _photography. That.
And
that
would you spell it because you have a different spelling of Krystyn than some?
That's true. If you hear it, you're gonna spell it all kinds of weird. So it's KRYSTYN Slack like pants _photography. You're gonna have to figure that one out yourself.
Now it all makes sense.
How do you put us together?
Huh?
You both have different spellings of your name. Go.
Oh, I just thought it was the hard CK rule for guests.
You know.
Krystyn, Caitie, Cameron.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fit right in.
Yep.
And then me. All right. Well,
Mr. Cadap's.
this week has been quite the week for movie trailers from the Walt Disney Company. It started with Mary Poppins Returns, which we will start with.
Number 2, Poppin' Fresh.
We're on a roll.
Personal.
I should make a pitch right now. If you haven't gone to the DAPs Magic Facebook and watched our pre-show, do it the moment the show is over. You won't regret it.
Oh my gosh.
It was some of the worst 7 minutes of video streaming we've ever had.
It was
But-
art.
In a very good way.
I've already gotten 4 text messages
Yeah.
about the live stream.
It's.
So
I think the word is ridiculous,
that
and
was
then some.
Memorable.
It's definitely memorable.
that is going to go
I
into
think
the
word
Geeks
is
Corner Hall of
savory.
Fame.
It is something I will never
Salty?
forget. Also, as I'm looking on Twitter, where we had our first tweet with the hashtag Geeks Corner, we're asking what the name is for the new pumpkin penguin. So send us your ideas.
Noticed him.
Send us your ideas for the name of our pumpkin penguin, and this will be the first of our many Halloween decorations in the coming weeks. We decorate for Halloween. We do the orange lights and the stuff, remember? Yeah.
I definitely.
Anyway, Mary Poppins Returns has a trailer. Came out Monday.
Return of the Poppins.
You go first. You're our guest. What did you think of it?
Okay, so originally I was like, oh, really? We're going to do a remake of everything? Great. And then I saw the trailer and I cried because it was so magical.
Let's go for crier number 2.
Town crier.
That's me.
But they're going to fight over it,
He
apparently.
was really surprised I'm not listed in the credits as crier number 1, Caitie. I was, again, uncertain about it, and I was, even when the trailer came out, I was like, here we go. But magical is the best way to describe it. It's so charming and whimsical and magical, and it's everything you want Mary Poppins to be. I wasn't sure how to feel about someone other than Julie Andrews as Mary Poppins.
Emily Blunt nailed it.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Quintessential.
Yes.
Like, she had us in the moment from the moment she comes out of the sky. You're like,
perfect.
oh, that's Mary Poppins.
Yeah.
All right, there's a big question about Mary Poppins Reloaded that we should address.
Is this the Time Lord question, or is this the...
No, this is a much more important question, which is, Lin-Manuel Miranda is contractually obligated to rap in everything that he's in.
Oh.
And he's already demonstrated that he has an appropriately terrible accent in this film. It's actually dead on accurate.
I believe he's actually Bert's apprentice. Is the backstory for him,
which is fantastic.
Oh,
makes more sense, doesn't
Okay.
it? Yeah,
How are they going to make him rap in that accent? And I cannot wait.
it's going to be
It's
amazing.
going to be amazing.
can't wait.
I think they're going to slip it in too.
Well,
It's going to come out of nowhere, and Cameron's going to be like,
I mean, I will make that exact noise, but no, it's going to be because there was a little bit of kind of scat in the Jolly Holiday with Mary that Dick Van Dyke did, and I think they're going to do a plussed up version of that for him. That's my bet.
I would not be surprised. So the big question we have to ask Cameron tonight as we go into every movie, at what point or do they say Mary Poppins returns?
They're going to.
Oh no.
So Cameron has the worst pet peeve is when they use the title in the movie.
Excellent.
Especially
There's an
when it's
article up on
needless.
Ducks Magic if you ever want to read
It's a
about
great
Magic
article.
News, movie annoyances. We'll include it with this thing I'm speaking into existence.
But nothing will ever beat both Star Wars movies, both Solo and Rogue One. They're like, what's your call sign? Rogue One? And we all went,
For some reason, I'm always at the end of the row. Maybe it's because I'm the one that's always getting snacks, and I just see 6 or 7 faces.
and then,
The whole row.
and then Han. What's your last name, Han? Solo. And we all went, oh!
Well, the only thing that made that easier, and I know this is slightly a tangent, is that actually was the second worst moment in that film. The first worst moment came directly before that.
But that's next week.
That's next week.
Next week.
Next week.
So back to Mary Poppins Returns. I think one of the highlights of the trailer is the 2D animation sequences.
Yes. So good.
It looks and feels exactly how it should look and feel. What's your favorite moment in the trailer for each of you?
Oof.
Do you want to go first since he's
yeah.
ready?
He's ready.
You guys can think.
My favorite thing is that Mary Poppins is supposed to be a little bit of a pretty jerk.
Yeah.
And I was worried they were going to tone that down. And the very first thing she says, you never ask a woman's age. She's like, and just turns away from it. I'm like, all right, good.
Probably the Dick Van Dyke, like,
Dancing?
yeah. I went, oh! Like, I had a guttural reaction watching that.
Yeah, it was.
You know,
Just at the first part, like just flying over London,
yeah.
it felt like Mary Poppins. And like I
It felt
said,
like
I was
the Ellen Shaw background that we
Yes.
all have known forever.
because
and-
I was worried. I really was. I was like, no, this isn't going to be good at all.
well, even
And it just started. And
yeah, and the street looks right. I really like the moment too where she says that she's coming back for the same thing she did the first time, the Banks children,
Yes.
and then
They go,
it's like
us?
you two or something,
Yeah.
whatever. Like that was a very cute
Well,
moment. I thought
you
as well.
also, yes.
You
You
also.
two
There
were-
we
yes,
go. So predictions, 2 thumbs up for this
yeah.
film.
2
Everybody
thumbs up.
thinks it's gonna be great, which is amazing because a few months ago
We were all
I hope it's gonna be good. And music. Are you excited about? We heard a little bit of singing in there.
Yes.
Yes, yes, yes.
I always take a deep breath when people are about to sing, so I'm always like, here we go. It's very beautiful and simple, and it's everything it should be.
Cool. Other trailer that came out this week was Captain Marvel, and that was actually today as the internet exploded.
That was the internet.
What did you think of it?
Oh, that was great. Great.
Yes, that was a good impersonation.
Good job.
You know, they should have hired you for Ralph Breaks the Internet.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
Anyway,
For someone who's pop culturally irrelevant, I know I need to catch up on my Marvel Universe films. I'll get there.
we brought you for your Disney and photography knowledge. It's okay.
So
we just
we'll
threw in this
catch
other
up on
thing.
other stuff.
Accept people even with their sin. It's okay.
Thank you.
I'm probably farther behind on Marvel than you are, to be completely honest.
So this trailer,
Yeah, about the trailer, it looks fantastic. It is so awesome to see a strong female lead out there just kicking butt, and her story looks awesome. And in the trailer, there's a part the word "her" fades into "hero."
yeah, that was pretty cool. So I have a question. Since
Yes.
you're not, we were talking about the Marvel films you have and haven't seen
Yes.
before the show. My hunch is you haven't really rushed out to see any of the Marvel films. It's been more of a, oh, I could go see it now, or have you been? And if that's true, is this one that you're like, I really want to see this opening night?
I did for Black Panther.
Okay.
And very soon after opening for Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Okay.
And
So you like
all
the
the
recent
way
ones?
up until Like Iron Man 3 I did.
So you're not as irrelevant as you say you are.
Missed the middle chunk.
Okay.
But I'm...
Well, and I actually feel like there's kind of an understanding there's a reasoning that fits with that, because I felt at the point where they got to that middle chunk, they had become a little bit formulaic.
I'm talking phase 2 because I think that's officially phase 2.
And the ones that she skipped really was the point where I remember talking, I think it was you and Tyler and I were talking about how we're kind of like, they're getting a little bit predictable and a little bit
Marvel's
like...
Frasier.
Yeah. And... Yes. But there was kind of that like less of an urge to go opening night, even though we always go opening night. And so I think that actually makes a little bit more sense. But with this and actually Spider-Man Homecoming, I think it kind of, and Black Panther, rejuvenated the need to go see it first before everybody else spoils it. Caitie, what do you think of that?
I'm excited. It's just everything about this, and Cameron's the comic book one.
I'm the comic book
We only
one.
have room for one.
Obviously. Look at his mug.
So I don't know the lore behind this. I don't know what to expect with her. But this whole trailer, I literally just sat there with my head in my hands like, ooh. I do love Blockbuster Video. Yes. So I am a huge fan that they're gonna make a comeback. This is their comeback film. We get to see more of Blockbuster Video. I think that's the real development.
That's the core message.
That's the development that I'm looking for.
That's what the pop-up shops that sell this movie when it comes out on Blu-ray are going to be in.
If they don't, someone should do that.
Wouldn't that be funny?
That would be. I would die.
So Caitie brought up the fact that she doesn't know the lore behind Captain Marvel.
Yes.
And lucky for us, we have someone who knows lore very well.
Luke?
And him also. Happy birthday, Luke. But we are going to do a new segment that I'm making up on the spot.
That's always a good thing.
That Cameron doesn't know is coming. But this is, I'm coming up with the name for it right now. Lore in a minute.
Oh.
You have 1 minute to explain the lore of Captain Marvel. Okay. Are you ready?
And you're being timed.
I have the timer right here.
Yep.
I even put the clock on.
Ooh, there's a clock on it.
Ready?
Okay.
On your mark. Get set. Go.
Originally, Captain Marvel was one of the strongest superheroes in the Marvel franchise. He was Kree. Now, the film we are watching is the latest incarnation of Captain Marvel. She is actually half human, half Kree, and was a merge from the original Marvel, who is the male Captain Marvel. She was originally known as Miss Marvel until Captain Marvel retired, and then she became Captain Marvel. Totally different from the Captain Marvel in the DC universe, who is Shazam and has a movie coming out right now. She has an extreme range of powers, most of which are energy-based. She can actually contain the power of an entire white dwarf star at one point. She can fly through space. She can breathe in space. She can release energy from the tips of her fingers that is completely destructive. Most importantly, she is pound for pound the strongest character in the entire Marvel universe and can probably vaporize Thanos if she really, really wanted to. Depending on what form she's in. She has to be in one of the later forms to be able to contain that much energy. She can fly at Mach 6, and also she's a member of the United States Air Force.
Very well done.
Oh.
56 seconds. That was impressive. So now you know everything you need to know about Captain Marvel. You feel good about this?
I feel so much smarter.
I'm
gonna go tell people this.
I feel something.
You have exactly 1 minute.
Go.
They're like, can I just have my coffee and leave? We go, no.
That's great. What are you most looking forward to with this movie?
I don't.
Any of you?
I want to see more Granny Punch in action, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay. I think everybody is going to look forward to that. That moment better be amazing as it looks.
So there's a lot of Kree in the movie. Kree are able to disguise themselves. I'm assuming that is a Kree. However, she just punched a Granny in the face. Like, it's so good.
Yeah.
So
okay.
good.
Cool.
So good.
You ready to talk about photography?
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
How
good of this movie do you think? Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody thinks it's going to be a great movie.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Krystyn has done a guest post for us on dapsmagic.com. You can go check it out. In fact, I'm sure Maddie is tweeting out the link for it with a really witty pun as we speak. Am I right? Okay. She's like, yeah, it's really good.
Do not interrupt my process.
My favorite part is Maddie has never done social media until we gave her the computer and said, hey, can you do our social media?
Nice.
And she's amazing at it.
Well,
and now her face is getting all red.
We said, can you do social media? She goes, I I can barely run my own social media. We said, so you'll do it.
And then she did that thing from The Matrix where she like plugged in the back of her head and went, I know Kung Fu.
Yeah. That's exactly what happened. And that's what she does every day on the DAPs Magic and the Geeks Corner Twitter.
She does a great job. So you did an article. Actually, you explain what article you did for DAPs.
Sure. So this article, in moving back to California, because I've been living on the race circuit, I wanted to take a look at kind of yet to be trending places to take pictures at. Started with Disney California Adventure, DCA, good old DCA, and went around the park, and I was like, let me find places where people aren't lining up and posting a zillion photos a day.
Which is exactly what I loved about
Instagram.
that.
Yeah.
So I found some spots that included still a lot of the icons from the park without being at the blue wall, at the up wall, right in front of the pier, all of those icons.
20-minute waits.
So, yeah, where the chance of you getting no one in your shot is near to impossible. So as a photographer, it is my job to use the environment that I have to come up with.
And what we didn't tell you is after we posted the article, we tested this.
Oh.
So the following Sunday when we went to the park, we always take pictures of people, and I was like, let's go try out some of Krystyn's spots, and it totally worked.
Yes.
So it's not just a theory. The pictures you took actually are replicable, which is always my frustration on some of these posts that people do, where they get these gorgeous pictures, and you're like, I'm gonna go try it. And then you try it, and it's like, mine doesn't look anything like that. And it's frustrating. But these are all very doable things. So you can check them out. There were 7 of them.
7, I think we did,
yeah.
Ended up with 7.
And there's going to be a Disneyland version at some point, too.
There is.
And make replicants of your own.
Yeah.
So where or when, both, did you start your love of photography?
I started my love with photography in a little bit of an Elle Woods moment. In Legally Blonde, and she goes...
Oh, we're familiar.
That is the first time that's ever been brought up on the show.
What?
Keep going.
It's hard? Exactly. Do you think she just woke up one day and decided to go to law school?
Yeah, I can start.
So that's how I got into photography.
Okay.
I was working for Disney at the time.
Yep.
Reached a bit of a glass ceiling where I was ready for something new, and I didn't want to be the person that hated my job, because I loved my job. I just needed a new challenge. Yeah. So I was like, wow, what am I gonna do? I don't actually know. And I had been attending motocross races as a fan for a handful of years, and I always got to bring my dad's fancy camera and take a couple pictures on auto on his basic DSLR. Was going back through the photos, and I realized at every event I always had pictures of the media team. Of wow, look at them. That would be
one of them.
That would be so cool. I never thought that I would be a person to be one of them. And so when I left Disney, I was like, hey, yeah, I'm going to do this. I'm going to be a motocross photographer professionally. Fun fact, there's about 30 motocross photographers in the country. That is it. So I figured, I'm sure I can figure it out. And about 2 years into that is when I became the first female to cover an entire motocross racing season after
which is
almost
awesome.
50 years of racing.
Yeah.
So I look back and I'm like, that
So you're not only...
That was a bold choice.
Yeah, you're not only a trailblazer, but you're now in history.
Yeah.
Isn't that... I mean, that's kind of weird to think, but...
It is because I never thought I'd go that route.
Mm-hmm.
And from there... So I started my photography with professional athletes, and ironically, also celebrities-ish. Mm-hmm. So, which is very backwards from how people get into it's so wrong. It's backwards.
Yeah.
People start with their friends and let me take a picture, and I was just kind of, shoot for the stars, I guess.
So, I think that's a really good point to bring up. Is you had this dream, and you just went for it. So what would you tell people that have the dream, whatever that dream, I think there's just some really good life lessons there, and we don't do life lessons on Geeks Corner very often, but I feel like we should.
Okay.
What would you encourage?
One of those things, and I've kind of refined this philosophy as I've gone through it, that confidence is a skill, is an acquired skill, and rejection is an opinion. So with those things, if you're going after something, it's kind of that cliche thing that's been repeated over and over, but if you don't ask, you won't know, and if you don't try, you'll always wonder, what if? And so I thought, gee, I don't own a camera, nor have I learned how to be a photographer.
I will admit, when you first did that, I thought back to, we were at Disneyland a couple months before you did this, and I was walking around with my T3i, and you're like, yeah, I should get a camera at some point, and we could go to Disneyland and take pictures. And then like 2 months later, she's like, yeah, I'm a professional motocross photographer. And I'm like, huh, okay.
So I entered on this journey, and I didn't have a camera, and I'd never shot anything other than on auto, and I was like, I'm sure there's a way to get into this. I found a motocross photography internship with a group that does like summer camps. I thought, sure, I can do that.
Yeah.
I don't own a camera, but I can be an intern.
Figure it out.
The people running the internship, and I was way out of college at that point. And so I was like, I don't think people are going to hire a 26-year-old intern.
I would.
I'm just going to, sure, I'll just go and I'll show up, and I'm ready to learn. So I guess in that life lesson too is be open to the new experiences, be ready to learn, and know that failure and rejection and things, it's just an opinion, and we will always learn more from our failures than we will from our successes.
Well, and I think the great thing too with your story is you were willing to start at the bottom and work your way up.
Oh yeah.
You had no illusions of like, I'm going to start out at the top and be this, trailblazing person. You started with internship, working up to
and then amateur races,
a few of these things, and it built every year, and that's a really awesome thing. And now you get to take pictures around Southern California, and you're taking some really cool things that people can find on that Instagram we mentioned earlier.
Well, and if you want to see the motocross stuff and not my people stuff, but I know it doesn't suit everybody,
but it's
that
fun.
one is freestyle photocross. So my fun little play on words, everything spelled correctly, but that's on Instagram as well.
Yeah,
so.
and those are really fun also. And
but very niche-y.
But that's a good thing. Go ahead, Cameron.
Motocross. Why are the bicycles so angry?
Why are the bicycles so angry? Like two strokes that sound like bumblebees? Or...
Oh, I was going for the pun.
Motocross.
There.
Oh, cross.
She caught up.
Yeah.
Angry. I get it. So
I know less about photography than I do motocross, and I know nothing about motocross.
So that's a great point to bring up. We've got a great photographer with us. What would be 3 tips you would give aspiring photographers going to Disney, whether it's with family or just to use their camera that they just got? That's a T. What are they up to? 6i now.
6 or 7.
6 or 7.
I know, yeah.
7 now.
T7i, whatever
Man, droids are
the
getting
formerly
complicated, huh?
digital rebel was. Anyway, what would be your tips for somebody just getting started and wants to take pictures at Disney, since we go to Disneyland a lot?
At the parks, and really this can apply to anywhere, but look around your environment and not just at your eye line. So a lot of the pictures I came up with in the article, it was looking at the most popular spot and turning 180 degrees around. And just so you can use that, and you can use that tip when you're photographing anything. And also, when you're at the parks, it's busy. So a lot of kind of planning and patience. If you're just waiting, if you're setting up a shot, you're like, oh, I would love to see, whatever it is, the Mark Twain coming through the river. Obviously, people are walking by, this and that. You can set up a shot in such a way that you're taking the picture when the majority of people are behind your subjects. And I do this pretty frequently. I'm like, all right, you look, kind of scope out the area, like this would look great, but there's so many people. So whoever your subject is, ideally you have someone with the patience will be a great virtue when you're shooting at theme parks in general, because there are so many people. So find different angles. Well, sometimes that means just turning around 180 degrees. Sometimes that means crouching down lower.
Sometimes it means laying on the ground. Yes.
Laying on the ground, crouching down
there
lower.
are pictures of Mr. DAPs and actually Caitie.
Yes.
Both of us dressed up fairly well, laying on the ground at Disneyland at different times.
Ice cream in the background.
Or taking the picture.
Of them laying on the ground. If you're traveling, so maybe you're doing a little coast to coast thing, heading to Walt Disney World.
Which might be happening soon for several of us.
So you can, a great tip for that would to be use kind of a variable zoom lens, so something on the range of like 24 to 70 millimeters or 24 to 105 millimeters, because it gives you a nice range in the lens without it being too heavy, too expensive. Oh, well, the 24 to 70 but it makes it more portable
and manageable.
And especially if you're just starting out, flip your camera into manual, don't shoot anything on auto, and turn all the dials and buttons and knobs.
And it's fun.
Yeah, because then you can kind of see your photography evolving and how it, start with a certain shutter speed and having the opportunity to control all of those settings. You really learn, and that's how I had to learn. I was shooting on auto when I started this internship, and my mentor said you're not allowed to shoot on dork setting. So auto was dork mode, and he was like, I said, but I don't know how. He goes, well, that's why you're here to learn. So
figure it out.
He literally said figure it out, and I felt like I'd been dropped in a pool in the deep end. Like I don't know how to do it. And so he said you have to figure it out, and I think those are such good tips for any photography, but especially at the parks, if you're there, if you have a pass or just for the day and kind of hanging out, or you're waiting.
That's why you have a pass.
Yeah.
I think that's why you have a pass, is you don't have to rush through things. You can take your time.
Take your time, and even if it's waiting in line for an attraction, you can find some really unique places and angles that might just make like a nice iPhone backdrop or whatever.
Right. Totally. You never know.
So yeah.
So you alluded to it, but I think it's a funny story that we can tell real quick. Is a year ago, we were all in Walt Disney World and didn't know it, and we were walking through Disney Springs, and there's Krystyn, and we almost bumped into each other at like 11 o'clock at night or something.
It's like, Lauren?
You guys are here? I don't know what's going on, but we're gonna be back there again, so we'll get a picture when we're all back in Florida this year, and we'll make it a Geeks reunion picture, and it'll be funny. So KrystynSlackPhotography.com is where you can go book Krystyn, find her, look at her pictures, all that fun stuff. Do you have a Facebook page up yet?
Yes, I do.
Okay, is that
same name?
Krystyn Slack Photography. Go find it. It's great. So very quickly, we got 3 minutes left. We're going to do a fast round, lightning round thing for our last 3 topics. It was announced this week also that Illuminations in Epcot is saying goodbye at the end of the summer next year. Thoughts on that in 5 words or less?
Never saw it. Cool beans.
Okay. Caitie, go.
Next birthday, I am sad.
Okay. That was good.
Really beautiful, will be missed.
Good job. That was very good.
Yours made sense.
I can't top that. You win. Downtown Disney is getting Ralph Breaks VR, taking over The Void from Star Wars. Thoughts, 5 words or less? I feel like it's a gift to you guys to let Cameron go first.
I already have mine.
Oh, go ahead, Caitie.
Never did Star Wars. Cool.
You didn't say beans, though. So.
That was 6 words.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying that because of that, it didn't work.
Cool beans.
Beans, cool beans.
Cool beans.
Mine is Buy Star Wars, Hi Ralph.
Okay.
I don't have a huge opinion.
Yeah.
I'm sure both are awesome, so it's kind of like...
Video game.
Oh! That was good. All right, Krystyn, your turn.
I want to wreck it.
Yes.
And you will.
Love it.
And finally, Earl of Sandwich is returning to downtown Disney at the Disneyland Resort. 5 words or less.
Sandwiches.
Gonna eat tuna melts. Yay!
You're right.
Punctuation doesn't count, I guess.
Holiday turkey is my fave.
Yes.
Sundays are better again. All right. That is all the time we have for you this week.
Quick pro tip that I didn't get to cover on cameras. Action mode does not give your camera superpowers. If you want to learn some other things, like what we talk about on the show, please go to thegeekscorner.com. Thegeekscorner.com is where we talk a lot.
Go to dapsmagic.com. Check out all the Disney and geek news as it happens. This has
Really?
Subscribe to our mailing list.
Immediately.
Shush! Subscribe to our mailing list and find out how to become a DAPs Magic Maker.
And make sure you subscribe to this channel so you don't miss any of these amazing episodes, whatever they are called. And make sure you go by facebook.com/dapsmagic and check out the post that will be on DAPs Magic that is connected to this episode, because it will have all the links to Krystyn, in case you can't remember how to spell or whatever it is.
I know.
It's okay. That's why we always called you Slack, because it just then I didn't have to spell it wrong in my phone. But
that works too.
True story. Anyway, that's all the time we have for you this week. We hope you guys have an absolutely fantastic week, and we will see you around the corner.